Okay, so we always start with stuff that we've been noticing for this week and what has been coming up or what I've been noticing. And I really can't tell if it's the time of the year or something bigger, but it feels like everyone is trying to reinvent themselves right now. Just like something underneath has shifted and people are trying to figure out really kind of what to do with that. So, welcome to High Heels to Happy Feels. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Stephanie. And I got to say, I've been noticing it too. And what's really interesting to me, Natalie, is it doesn't seem like people really know what they're moving toward. They just know that they're moving something about where, because it's not right where they're sitting anymore.
Which is kind of a very different thing.
I think it's very different. And I think the second part is that nobody's talking about it.
Because we're really good at talking about the change, we are not great about talking about the fog that comes with it,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
And
Yeah.
yeah. So something happened recently. And I keep coming back to this. And I know we always have stories, but you get to be our age, we always have stories. So
Yeah,
just
you're gonna have something that goes along with
you're going to
everything.
have stories that goes with all of it. So here we go. So a friend of mine made a really big change. Left a career she'd been in for a long time, and from the outside looked like exactly the right move, like what she was supposed to do. Like she'd finally done the brave thing. I asked her how she felt, and she said, "Honestly, I don't know what I want. I thought leaving would tell me, and it didn't."
Oh,
Right? And she wasn't sad about it exactly, just I think a little shocked, a little surprised. She assumed that there was going to be clarity right on the other side of that big decision, that the answer was just waiting there, and that leaving was the thing standing between her and this decision and this clarity.
but the leaving ended up just being leaving.
Yeah, it's just leaving. That's all it was. And now she's in this giant open space that she fought really hard to get in. And she's standing in it going, dang, now what?
That's not the story that we get sold.
No, no. The story we get sold is make the change, find yourself. Like it's one of the same thing. Like it's one big sentence. Make the change, find yourself. It's not one sentence.
Okay, but here's the thing, because you left after like decades of work that we've done, and that's not what happened to you.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
So, like, what's the difference then?
You know, it's interesting because I've been thinking about that, especially after talking to her. And it's not that I think I have any more clarity than she does, but I think I had more permission, I
Mm.
guess, is how I want to put that, to not know. Maybe a clearer sense of direction of what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, right? We had our business and so on. But I think somewhere along the way, I stopped needing that picture to be complete before I let myself just jump, before I let myself move,
So the
right?
leaving wasn't toward something.
Right. I mean, or not exactly, because it kind of was, but it wasn't away from anything either, right? It was more like, I don't know, I trusted that the direction, and I still do, was going to become clear once I removed myself from the obstacle and the fog and the space I was in, right? So once I got out of that, standing in that same space, that same, I wouldn't be in that place anymore.
And okay, so did it?
Yeah,
Is it unfolding like that?
slowly, right? And there's, I mean, you see a lot of it. You get to be a part of it all the time. But for those that have been following this for quite a while, there's moments that standing in the open space is just like, oh crap. Now what? I mean, and I don't, it's not like I say, oh, I made a huge mistake. I've had colleagues ask me where I left, do you miss it? Hell no, not one bit any day ever. But it's, there's still a lot of moments where yeah, I'm like, wow, am I
Well, and
clear?
I think like what you're just saying is that's a really different relationship with not knowing.
Yeah. And I don't think it came naturally. I think it came from doing the work. I was always paying attention to what the heart was saying, even when the mind was loudly, as well as others disagreeing with me.
But what if you've been so busy building the life you were supposed to want that you never actually figured out what you wanted? Like, then the space doesn't feel like trust.
No. That's true. It feels more like, I guess it feels more like a question you just don't have an answer for yet, right?
And yeah, and nobody told you what your options were really. And I
Right.
think if we're honest, most of us have been there in some version. Like you've thought about making a change, and when you try to picture what comes after, it's just blank. Like not a scary blank, just nothing is there yet. And someone asked you what you really want, and you gave an answer that sounded right, but you weren't sure that you believed it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you like, I mean, thinking about that, you've sat down to think about where do I want to be in 5 years? Where do I want to be in 10 years? And then realized answering that question, you're answering it with somebody else's version of what is a good answer,
And that one
right?
hits because we
Yeah.
learned early what a good answer sounds like. So we give a good answer and never notice that it wasn't our answer. You know what you don't want. You're much less clear on what you do. If you're anything like me, or we're catching your eye in this story,
Oh my God. I was just thinking
right?
about a conversation we had with my nephew. And I'm thinking about, and I know I'm a little off topic here, but it's kind of on too, because
Mhm.
this class he's going through, I'm like, what does that have to do with the class she signed up for? And
Right.
it's very no, you're supposed to be on brand, right? And when I think about what it all goes back to this, right? Like, what have you achieved? What are you working hard for? So instead of thinking about what are you doing, you're thinking about what's the answer everybody else wants to hear. So you're constantly, instead of feeling like I've arrived at something, you're what's the next thing that's supposed to come? What's supposed to become the most obvious thing? And then it doesn't.
And I think we're genuinely unprepared for that moment. But when we're like, you've done everything right, and you bring up a good point because these are my kids we're talking about.
Hmm.
And Steph and I have been doing spiritual work for decades, and we're really into immersive spirit the last 3 years, and we've really grown in the heart and the soul pillars and all of the things we talk about. And I still am very much pushing my kids to get their degrees and follow the successful path.
The formula. If
Right, the
anybody's,
formula, the
yeah,
successful, what somebody else has told me is going to be successful, which is really disingenuous,
yeah,
truly. But they also have to keep up with a society that measures them by, like my kids get excellent grades. I mean, I'm not going to say they're geniuses. They're good at what they do. They're good when they apply themselves. Most kids are. I'm not disqualifying anybody's children, but we have that path, and you don't want your kids to be non-successful because at this age they don't know what they really want to do anyway. But
yeah.
like so we're doing the one where you do everything right, and the question then shifts like from how to why, I guess is what I'm going through.
Right. Well, and what you say, so, if you haven't, Amanda Walsh from Astrology Hub, for those that follow, wrote a book. It just came out last month. I think it's My Life with the Stars, My Life Beyond the Stars. I am misquoting the title, but it's awesome. And she's I just love her. I resonate with her so much, or she resonates with me because I'm older technically, but whatever. But it's beautiful. I love how she says things. The formula. And that's what this is, right? Because the formula is the blueprint. The formula is you shall do this, you shall do
Mhm.
this, you shall have, career, check, marriage, check, 2.5 kids, check. I have this cushy career, check. I have a house in the burbs or a house in the city or a studio place in Manhattan, check. You don't have
Right,
the
it's the game
blueprint.
of life.
It's the game of life. Yeah. You don't have a blueprint though for why.
Oh yeah, just a blueprint for what's next.
What's next? Yes. I mean, it's crazy. We've been handed a very specific blueprint, that formula that Amanda references of what a good life, I put that in air quotes for those that are listening, looks like, because whose terminology is it? And it
Mhm.
starts early, right? We talk about programming a lot on this podcast and within immersive spirit. But the good grades, the good college, good job, good relationship, good house, all the things I just said with the formula. And somewhere in there is a good you,
And the
right?
blueprint really isn't random. It's designed to be legible to other people.
Right.
so that when someone asks you how you're doing, you have a clear, checkable answer that they can compare themselves to you.
Exactly. Which means a lot of people, I mean, a lot of people have spent decades optimizing for a life that reads really pretty from the outside,
Yeah, and never stop to ask if it felt right from the inside.
right? Or didn't know how to even ask that. And
Right.
that's the crappy part because nobody modeled it. Nobody talks about it. Nobody around them was asking it either.
Right?
Sucks.
And if
Yeah.
everybody's following the, which anyway, yeah, if everybody is following the blueprint
Yeah. Questioning. It feels like you're doing something wrong.
or ungrateful, like you have the good job, what's the problem?
Yeah. And I think that's what's happening for so many people right now. The blueprint ran out. They followed it all the way to the end, and there just wasn't another page on that, right? The architect quit.
Or or they got close enough to see what was at the end and went, wait, is this what I actually signed up for? Is this what I wanted?
God. And that question is beyond terrifying. If you have never practiced asking that question, that is the most terrifying question you'll ever ask yourself.
Well, yeah, because reinventing yourself sounds like a project. Like
It
there's
is,
plan and a
right?
destination and a better version at the end. And somewhere in all of that, the longing for something simpler, something that felt like yours before the blueprint took over.
I know it. But a lot of people just won't do the reinvention. They're just finally asking what they want for the first time and realizing they have absolutely no clue.
And to be fair though, that's not a failure. We're kind of all there.
No. Right. But it feels like one, right?
Hmm.
We feel like the blueprint, the design book had no room for not knowing. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, so
and I
so
got
tell
it.
me about the energy then that is just correlating because we both saw it this week. There's
Oh
got to
my
be
God.
something to it.
There's there's so much. I gotta tell you, the Uranus and Gemini switch in April to me just totally rings true of all this still, because it's such a huge and powerful shift in terms of where we are. But the astrology this week fits in a way that I think is going to be uncomfortable. And we're going to talk about that again in a second, but it's really on the nose. Hey there. Every week, Natalie and I talk about our soul pillars on our High Heels to Happy Feels episodes. I would highly encourage you head to immersivespirit.com/soul pillars and check out these free tools. There's different things you can download to learn more about interacting with your body, heart, mind, and spirit, and how easy it is to develop your intuition, even at a much higher level with these free tools. We've loved creating them. We really hope you'll take advantage of them. They are free. immersivespirit.com/soul pillars. And now back to high heels to happy feels. Venus has moved into Leo this yesterday morning. Saturday morning. We're a little late in recording, so apologies. But as that dropped, Leo wants to be seen, wants to be like fully expressed, wants to show up, right? No apology. But if you don't know what that self is, that energy doesn't feel like confidence. It feels like a horrifying pressure that you have to, it's like having stage fright and you have to perform,
Yeah,
right?
like everyone's performing a self that they're certain of, and you're still looking for yours.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. And then today, or I should say tonight, couple more hours, we have the new moon going into Gemini. New moons are typically, really great fresh starts, and they are. But Uranus is coming back to this part, has been in Gemini now for a couple of months. And there's already this collective sense that the future is arriving faster than expected. That's that energy. This new moon taps directly into that. It's not just asking what you're building next, it's asking what version of yourself is going to emerge alongside of it.
And if you're already in that fog,
Oh, yeah. More openness. If you're
yeah.
already in that fog, I'm feeling for you because more openness is always isn't what you want to hear at all.
No, no. If you're like me, you want somebody give me a damn direction where I'm supposed to go.
Where's the map? Right? Okay. So Monday we have Venus sextiling Uranus and Gemini. Sextiles are a friendlier aspect, right? When you're thinking about it, in that way. All aspects have good and bad, but it's a little jolt of electricity. It's the urge to do something different with how you show up, the impulse that arrives without any explanation.
Huh,
Yeah.
that sounds interesting. I'm gonna see how
Like your
that's
hair
gonna.
appointment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I could see. Or you finally hitting send on an email or like a.
Yes. Yes. That's a really good example. The thing that just happens before you can talk yourself out of it,
Mm,
which, yeah. And then Tuesday, we have Vesta conjuncting Saturn in Aries. Vesta's devotion, like what you tend to, what you keep sacred. And then Saturn is our obligation and structure, what you're committed to. Together, they're asking the question underneath all of this: what are you devoted to because you choose it? Versus what are you devoted to because you never questioned it? And
that's the
that's
blueprint question right there.
right there in the sky. It's screaming at you on Tuesday. Then Tuesday afternoon, the moon conjuncts Mercury in Cancer. Mercury in Cancer is the feeling that wants to be spoken. So,
Mm.
moon conjunct Mercury is that feeling hitting a peak. And whatever's been sitting quietly starts to want to be said out loud. So, the conversation you've been avoiding with yourself, and those are the hardest, in my opinion, suddenly
Yeah.
feels much more urgent.
Yeah, so Tuesday is gonna feel like, the day we got to get out and say our piece maybe a little.
Yeah, even if you don't know what it is yet. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Tuesday night, Venus is going to trine Neptune. So this is the vision of who you could be is going to get a little lovey, right? A little romantic. It's almost cinematic. So chime the music in. You can see it clearly, even if you just can't quite name it yet.
And then what does Wednesday look like?
So Wednesday, we have Venus opposing Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. Venus is about who you want to be. Pluto retrograde is kind of that old version. Still here, still leaving, not quite done yet because it's Pluto, which is transformation, but it's retrograde. So we're kind of internal. So Wednesday is that specific feeling of being between. It's the old version isn't fully gone, the new version hasn't arrived yet. And you're just, to do the song, you're stuck in the middle with, yeah, you're stuck in,
It's funny you say that because I was thinking the exact same thing.
of course you were stuck in the middle. You're right in the middle of it, right?
Right, which is exactly where if I that's what I've been noticing, and that's exactly where it feels like people are right now.
Exactly. And the sky is just putting it together for us Wednesday afternoon. Yeah. Then Friday, Chiron moves into Taurus. So this is a really big one for us because Chiron sits for many years and it's been in Aries since 2018. So
Mm.
Chiron's that wound that becomes the wisdom, right? Taurus is the body, what we built, what we own, what we're worth. It's our value. So in the context of everything we're talking about here, the wound is really, do I know what I'm worth when I strip away what I've been performing? And that's a really hard question to ask yourself, right? Do I know what I want when I throw away the blueprint, when I take that away?
That is the real question underneath this reinvention impulse that everybody seems to be experiencing, or a lot of people.
Exactly, right? It's been the question the whole time.
Wow.
Absolutely. I know.
Yeah. So, of course,
It's
I
a
have
lot.
an example of,
Of
I
course.
think is
Woohoo.
exactly what we're talking about. So before we started building Immersive Spirit, I had built something real, like the master's degree, decades in corporate, both of us. You did leadership,
Hmm.
and we both chose all of that. Like neither
Yeah.
one of us was sleepwalking through that. We genuinely were in it. We wanted it. We did that.
But we fell into it. It was almost gifted. I mean, really.
But once we fell into it 30 so odd years ago,
Right. We went with it.
we
Yes, we
we
did.
worked at it. We wanted it. But what I'm realizing now is I was answering every question that was put in front of me really thoughtfully with full commitment. I just had never asked myself the question that existed outside of what was expected because of that being handed to us.
And that's because no one handed us that question.
Yeah, no one
No
handed
one,
us
no
that
one
question.
said, here's that particular question, right?
Yeah, it wasn't on the form. And I don't think that means that either one of us made wrong choices. I think we excelled, we did great. I love the life that we built. But I think it means that I was working with a frame that I didn't know that I could step outside of.
Until we
But-
did,
Right. And
right?
that's less about the stuff we've accomplished or even the stuff we've done. I think that's true for everybody. Like we don't know that we can step outside that frame until we
Yeah,
started doing this work.
right. And
Yeah.
I think some of that for us, I mean, this is the part that if you're in your 20s, 30s, even 40s, I, embrace it now. Don't wait
Yeah.
to be in your 50s when things just open wide for you and you go, wow, I wish I would have known now in my 20s what I know now, right? And we say all that. You listen to older people say that and you're like, yeah, you're old, whatever.
Every
All right.
generation says that. Every generation.
Every generation says it. God, it's true. It is so
Yeah.
true because we know so much more now and we're so much more gung ho and so much more don't care what you think, right? And I think that's a huge part of it in this work and what we do and why we're able to embrace it.
I think so too. But I think that just with the whole shift of everything being just a little bit more spiritual and younger generations getting exposed quicker to this, the tools, the pillars we've created, the astrology, like actually paying attention to what your heart is saying underneath all of the achievement. And then hopefully, for now, it's opened up for us. Things I didn't know were closed, and I'm hoping that helps the younger version.
Like immersive spirit.
Yeah, immersive spirit, which
Mhm.
feels chosen in a way that's different. Not because the other things weren't real choices, they were, but because this one came from questions that we've actually asked ourselves, not questions that someone handed us.
Completely agree. I completely agree. And now, when you sit down with it,
Well, so you sit down and think about that 10 years or 20 or 30, and I'm still reaching for the picture and it's not fully there yet. Like I know what I'm doing, I know what feels right. I just haven't mapped it out to that scale. And I keep wondering if that means something is missing or if it means I'm finally living in a way that doesn't need a map to be finished first. How do you feel about that?
I think those are two different things. I mean, the picture, the specific destination, the 10-year plan, and the direction. The thing your whole self is oriented toward, it's like even when you can't draw the route, right? Because we see the picture, we know the goals. Our goals shift dramatically almost every week because we're like, oh, what about this? What about
Right.
this? But because we're excited and we are following our direction and we are following our path. So it keeps changing the dynamic of what our image looks like. So there can't, I think in our instance, there's not a good example of a 10-year plan. But I think that to the second part of that, which is we don't need it because we're comfortable in where we are. Yeah, I mean, we know eventually, just thinking about careers and where we're at right now, where we want to be. But
It's a
yeah,
major shift though. And you think you can move without the picture.
yeah. And I know we can because I mean, I did,
So
right? You did.
maybe the question isn't, do I know where I'm going? It's, do I know what I'm oriented to?
That's good. That's really good. How about, and does the way you're living right now point you there?
Well, and I think like if I'm answering it, yes, more than anything I've done before, I just keep waiting for it to look like the goals I thought I was supposed to have written by now.
Yeah. See, the thing is that blueprint and the programming had really
Mhm.
specific goals. I mean, those are actionable, checkable, listed items for us, right?
Right, right. And I think like on this approach, and I'm talking less broadly now, I'm talking very specifically about like Steph and I, but I think it's gotten quieter in that than the big checkable list, but it's mine.
hmm
Yeah.
And I think that's honest,
Yeah.
right? Because we're sitting with it and just saying, okay,
And we're not alone in this. Like this has been coming up
it's
across
everywhere.
readings,
Otherwise, we
across
wouldn't be talking about
like
it. I
team
mean,
structure meetings. Like it's just come like people are really
everywhere.
stretching for what do I really want to do?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just a huge thing. So I'm going to bring in the pillars here because I think this is a
Okay.
good place for them.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think it's a way to resolve, but I think it's a really, really good jumping place for folks. And we bring in the pillars every week, right? Because we know that these free tools are so helpful in just kind of creating that structure for you. So, especially when you don't know where to start, right?
Yeah, because that's where I am, and that's where a lot of folks are. So yes.
Right? All right, mind first. Um, I think the mind is honestly the problem before it's our solution because the mind runs the blueprint, right? It's
Hmm.
especially our left side. It's been executing the sequence, it's optimizing our next step, it's answering all the questions that we've been handed over and over and over again. And it's great at that. That's what minds do.
But it's been so loud for so long that it's drowned out everything else.
Right. So the mind is that's a starting. I mean, it's harder because you got to think harder about what you want. But I think it's really helpful because it actually will get quiet enough to notice what's underneath. So it's like, I mean, we're constantly talking with everybody about are you using your left brain or are you using your right brain? Quit, quit bringing up everything here. You got to get to what's underneath the thinking.
Right, which the mind really doesn't want to do.
Now, it'll generate 17 more things for your list to avoid it.
Right, it's very, very busy. So, yeah, the heart is where I think the real signal is. And the thing about the heart and I love it because it doesn't speak in goals. It doesn't give you like the 10-year plan. It speaks in that pull and the resistance that you get, what you move towards when nobody's watching, what you resist even when the rational case for it is completely solid.
I love that. I think a
Hmm.
lot of people have been overwriting that for so long that they just stopped hearing it.
Or they hear it and immediately explain it away. Like that's
Yes.
not practical or not
Yep.
realistic or that's not the sequence even.
Mhm. But the heart, I don't think the heart cares about the sequence, right?
No, the heart just knows what it knows.
Yeah. And if you're overwriting it, I mean, we all do it. But the practice then becomes really just listening. Like before you evaluate, before you decide that something's really, really practical for you, listen to your heart, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
So the body's going to be your honest one. And we've been teaching somatic in our iOS course, intuitive operating system here for the last few weeks. But I think it's the most honest of all of them
Why?
because the body doesn't perform, right? Doesn't tell you what you're supposed to want. It just responds. And if you're paying attention, really pay attention, it's been trying to tell you things for a very long time. The thing that makes you light up when you talk about it, that you get so animated you can't shut up. The thing that makes your shoulders drop when you walk away from it, you're just like, oh, thank God, I'm so far away from that. The chronic tiredness that only shows up around certain things, right? The nausea you feel.
Yeah, your body keeps receipts for real.
Oh my God, the body has always been keeping receipts. It recognizes all of it. And I think it's especially important as Chiron's moving into Taurus later this week. That invitation is to actually read the receipt. You're not just putting it in a drawer, right? You're actually going to read them, not fix them, not explain them. You need to read the signs that your body is giving you. Ah,
That
all right.
makes a lot of sense.
Right. One more. We got to cover spirit. The
Hmm.
spirit is that part that can sit in the not knowing without fixing it, without rushing it, without needing the answer to arrive on a schedule.
Which is the hardest thing because everything else is pushing you to know. Society wants you to know. The blueprint wants you to know. Even the reinvention industry wants you to know. Just a different thing.
Yeah. And spirit is the part that goes, you don't need to know that yet. That's not, the not knowing is not the problem. It might actually be the most honest place you've been in a while is not knowing, right? Having that confusion.
Which doesn't
Yeah.
make it comfortable.
No, makes it absolutely miserable, in
And
my
maybe that,
opinion.
well, but you know what? Maybe that's enough for right now.
Yeah, because it's real, right? I mean, because it
Right.
makes it real. So, the week's question for you: what do you want?
Hmm.
Because if you knew, if you honestly knew that, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It's simpler than that. What do you notice when you stop trying to answer? Not the thoughts, not the plan. What's underneath when the mind gets quiet for a second? More like 10.
Well, right. And we're not calling you out here because literally it's
We're
happening
telling about
everywhere.
ourselves too.
Right,
So,
right.
mhm.
And maybe the body version of that is what have you been moving toward lately that you haven't given yourself credit for noticing? Not the should, like the actual pull. What's been quietly pulling you?
I love that. And you'll
Yeah,
feel it. And if you can't find it yet, that's cool too, right? That's completely okay. Sometimes the first step is just admitting that we have a blank page. The blueprint's been erased. It's over, whatever. And then sitting with that instead of rushing to try and color it all back in and fill it all back in.
that just reminds me of that. I'm sure I don't, someone's going to be able to quote the artist, but the blank page, like every flip of the paper is a blank page that you get to fill out. You're creating your story.
Oh, I love that. We'll have to find that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
know
always true.
someone's going
We
to look at
always
you and
end
be
up
like, oh, you
quoting
guys are
somebody,
idiots.
right? Well, comment for us and share, call us out because we're not
Right.
remembering right now. So that would be great. But I mean, really, I think the reinvention everyone's after isn't really about becoming something new.
Mhm.
It's about finally asking the question that your blueprint, that your programming just didn't leave room for, which is what do I actually want? What do I actually want? And then sitting with that fact that not having the answer yet isn't the same as not having one.
Yeah, it's still in there. It's just been quiet for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Cool. And if this one landed, I mean, I'm sure it did because the mood is just off the charts everywhere this way. Share it with someone else who might be in the middle of their own blank page, right? Tag us at Immersive Spirit. We genuinely want to hear everything about what's going on with you and what came up for you. Everything we work with is at immersivespirit.com. You can find our community. You can find links to the podcast. You can find our free soul pillars, right? You can find
Hmm.
all of those things there. So, and if you found this at the right moment, we would love a review and some comments. Please give us a thumbs up and share. Yeah.
Yeah, help someone else find it. And thanks for spending this time with us from Immersive
Yeah.
Spirit. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Stephanie. Have an amazing week, and we'll see you again next week.